What's up, E3D viewers? I'm coming in with another Tinkercad tutorial. I've got to be honest, this is my weirdest tutorial yet. It's called the iBot. Here it is. It has a movable eye. That's kind of what makes him fun. And then he also has a chain tail with a gear end on it. And then posable legs. He's very fun to play with. He's very weird, but sometimes things like that are the most fun to play with. So let's get into it. Of course, first you're gonna want to start by choosing your Sketch Revolve tool and dragging it out to the center of your work plane. Once you arrive, don't forget to check out Sketch features. I know I say this every time, but just in case this is your first of my videos. Don't forget to select this little curvy tool over here. Then we're going to go 4 squares out from this line right here. And then we're going to go up 11.18 on both sides. Just like that. And then press escape. And then down here, if you'll select that, keep the width the same, but on the cap ends, we're going to select round, just like that. And then you can see our shape right over here, and don't forget to click Finish Sketch. It'll take you straight back to your work plane. And for this one, I do not recommend you max out those sides. That way there's more friction, so that way your eye can possibly stay in the position that it's in. However, the eye will be very loose, so it doesn't really matter. Your next step is to drag out a sphere in the center of that socket there. Then holding down Shift, make this bigger. L for align, and you're just going to want to center this. It's about 26 by 26 right now, but for all we know, that could be too small. So what I like to do is I like to make it transparent, then look at it from the inside. So that is too small. So still keeping it transparent, we're going to hold down Shift just a little bit more, bringing it up to about 27 by 27. Maybe 29. L for align. As you can see, that was a little too big, so let's get the size adjusted. I ended up doing 27 by 27 all around. So now, of course, you can change those back to a solid color instead of transparent. And I do like to change the ball to white. That way it makes more sense as an eye. And then you're going to drag out the cylinder, kind of keep it tilted like that. And then holding down Shift on your keyboard, make it smaller, and then slide it in some. Then you're going to Shift select those two and union group them. And then you have your eye. I actually like to make the pupil kind of crooked like that. That's what makes them look kind of cool. Now I'm going to bundle group the rest. Now let's get started on the ball joints that make this guy articulated. So over where it says basic shapes, click the arrow down, and it will give you this entire shapes library. Click on hardware, and then on hardware, it'll give you different options, and you're going to click on connectors. We're going to select the socket one, and simply spin it. For this part, I do like to make the eyeball transparent. That way I can see where this socket is. I lifted it up a little bit. And then you have your socket. You can take off the transparency, of course, now. And then all that's left is to align, or just like that. And then of course you can union group it. And just like that, you have the head to your iBot. Now let's start working on the body. For the body, you are going to need a square. I hopped right back on over to basic shapes. And then I'm going to give it a radius of about 2. Now, of course, it's time to use some more ball joints. So for the neck, I'm going to drag out this ball joint. I'm going to put on a tilt of about 90 degrees. Now you simply have to align those two, just like that. And then I just like to copy this ball joint, and then copy that one again, and bring it right over here. Put this one on a tilt of 90 degrees, and I simply slide it right in there. And I do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to shift select the ones that I want to align. That. And then that one's perfect. And of course you can highlight these and union group. And just like that, you have the body of your iBot. Now it's time to start making on the legs, and I'll show you a really cool trick for the tail. We are going to select this uni arm and drag it right out here. And this is kind of the weird part. We are going to bring out a socket and place that right here. Of course, it is smart to align those. And then put that one only on a 90-degree tilt. Then of course you can union group this. Don't forget to bring it back up to work plane. And then you just copy that because you're going to be using it twice for your feet. And then to make the feet is super simple. You're just going to bring out 2 of these because they make the cutest feet, if I'm being totally honest. Like that. Now our last little trick is to make the tail. First, you want to set this up 90 degrees. You can move it right over here if you're going to have some extra room. You're going to keep it at hardware and select this chain. Just like that. And then of course you're going to want to lay it down. And then place it back on the work. And you're attaching just the tail end of it. Up for a line. And it's perfect. So now you're going to get out a gear and you're simply going to put it on the end of that. Just as simple as that. And you will need to align these. Then your last step is to, of course, union group. You can shift select and then union group. You have just finished your iBot, and remember that this is how he turns out. He's very fun to play with. Interesting, eccentric, I would say. But he's just a fun little guy, and I would highly recommend him for you to print. I hope this video was easy for you to understand. I hope it was informative. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to support me and my channel, and also that way you don't miss any of the new content that is released. Thank you so much for watching.